Hi, everybody. Okay, it is Thursday at noon, and I don't really know what I'm going to say today. I have kind of a few things that we can talk about, but I'm really here for your questions today. So if you are here, drop your name in the chat. I'm going to look something up here while I get settled. So yeah, I just ran a race last week or Monday. So yeah. It seems already like it was forever ago. There's been a lot happening in my world. So since Monday, it's been kind of crazy. So if you're here, say hi. Hello, Lindsay. Nice to see you. I am looking something up. There was something that I wanted to definitely talk about, and I need to actually write it down in order for me to remember what it is. So bear with me for a quick second. Yeah, so since Monday, hello, Steph and Les, how are you? So since Monday, all I've wanted to do is sleep. I had the Fortitude 10K, and it was interesting because I do have a full race recap coming up in a blog post and coming up on my Saturday, my weekend update this weekend. So there's a lot more that I want to talk about with that. Thank you, Heather. Like that? Dr. Strange? Yeah, I had to pull him out. So hi, Linda. Hi, Meredith. Hello, Heather. I'm glad you guys are here. Ask your questions, guys. I came into this going, yeah, I know exactly what I'm going to say, and I really don't. I have no idea what I want to talk about today. So I need you people, please. I need you guys. So I do have to say, AC 101, and I need to repeat this a couple times as the hour goes on. AC 101, I went back to last time I went live, and you asked a question about half marathon, going from half marathon to a full marathon. I completely missed it in the chat, and I kind of want to talk about that, but I want to wait till you're here if you do end up making it in. So what I did discover just now before I went live was that the Fortitude 10K was live streaming through on YouTube, and you can go back and watch that stream. You can go back and watch that stream. It's like 3.5 hours long. So I don't recommend you watching the whole thing, but you can kind of get an idea of what it looks like, what the course looks like. The 10 minutes or so that I watched was like the inflatable T-Rex show. And there was one guy, and I have to say that during the race, maybe 2 miles in, I'm running along. I feel like I'm doing a pretty good clip. And, one of those inflatable T-Rexes passes me. Now at the boulder, they come in packs. All right. There are 10, you'll see 10 inflatable T-Rexes running along all at the same time. And you'll see a few groups of them. Well, it was just the one guy this time. It was just the one guy in the T-Rex costume. And he just passes me. I'm like, that's not fair, because I'm running pretty hard and he's in an inflatable T-Rex costume. I did see, though, that he was getting pretty warm because you sweat in it and it gets hot in there. So he had to take his head off. It's kind of funny. But I watched about 10 minutes of this thing, and it was like the inflatable T-Rex show. And I'm like, I'm around that guy somewhere. Pan left, pan right, something. I'm right there. So yes. And they do. They run like, if you've never seen these, they're really funny to watch, because the head comes way up. It's like another foot above your head, and it waggles back and forth like this. And then the hands, you just have the two hands. Now your arms can come out just fine, but the little hands, they kind of sit there and they do this. It's so funny to watch them. So it's just, you see this, if you go in and you watch, it's Fortitude 10K live stream on the Boulder channel. I think it's a Boulder YouTube channel. But it's just, you'll see for about 10 minutes, it keeps coming back to the T-Rex guy. Like, that's What is that about? Okay, that's the Fortitude 10K. I did actually see myself briefly in the corner, but I'm not going to actually go back. I do want to go back and watch the race itself. They have the elite runners, the A wave at the very beginning, and then they have, they have all of the wave starts, and then they have the elite races, the pro race start, and then they have at the very back end of that, they'll have the Labor Day tribute, which was a tribute to armed forces and first responders. So that was the morning. But here you go. So I'm going to say hi. Anne, hello. And Stephanie, nice to see you guys. Again, if AC 101 is in here, just say hi. So let me go into this because I don't remember exactly the question, but when you're at that half marathon mark, it's kind of like just extending out. You've been running for a while and you've done 5Ks, 10Ks, half marathons. Then you want to go to your first full. Going to that first full marathon is hard to wrap your brain around because it's twice the distance, right? But now you're talking 26.2 miles. And when you think of it in what that actually boils down to, you start to wonder, you start to question whether or not you are capable of making good decisions. You are. I'm just saying sometimes that we just question that decision to go to a full marathon. The marathon itself is its own beast. That's why you just don't think about it. Linda, you're absolutely right. The marathon is its own beast outside of the training for a marathon. This is where, and it's kind of like when you make that step from 10K to half marathon, you have to build up the strength and the bone density and the ligament strength to 10K half. And the same is true from half to full. I know I have seen so many times that someone, oh, hey, I'm doing my first half marathon. A month later, I'm doing my first full marathon. That's possible. It's not. I would recommend that if you are going to train for a marathon, you make it just marathon training. And I would still posit that going from 0 to Dopey in a year, you could probably take a year to do it, but 0 to Dopey in 26 weeks or however long the Galloway program could possibly set you up for injury. So here's why. When we're going from a half marathon to a full marathon, the most important piece of it is getting those long runs in, getting the high mileage in, and being consistent with the training. Yes, you'll miss a couple of runs in there. Yes, that's normal. But prioritizing your training, just like when you went from 10K to half, right? You're building up not just the physical endurance, but also the mental endurance. Because when you're out there and you're doing those long runs for 5 hours, maybe longer, I don't recommend that, but maybe longer than 5 up to 6 hours, those get long. Those are just like, when I plan my long runs for marathon training, I'm like, okay, what am I going to listen to? I spend the entire week banking up podcasts so I can listen to them, or I make sure that I'm not almost done with a book, that I can start another book if I have to during those long runs. Training for a marathon is most specifically about the long runs. Getting those in is very important to making sure you can do a full 26.2 on race day. That being said, we don't want to just do the long run on the weekend. Following a strong training plan is very important. So throughout the week, 3 to 4 miles a week, 3 to 4 miles, 3 to 5 miles, 3 or 4 days a week, and then your long run. Whether you do that on Saturday, Sunday, or even Wednesday, the long run is the most important. So let's see. What's everybody saying here? This is Cindy, welcome. More fun than preparing in the slideshow. Nice job. So yeah, the half harder than the full in January. So back to back, Anne. So did you do those back to back, or was the half just harder? What made it harder? I'm curious, because I can see that. I can see that for myself, that sometimes I think the half marathon is harder than a marathon. Here's the thing with the difference between the half marathon and the full marathon, and maybe I'll just pull this up, because if you're looking at a pace calculator, I'm going to go into Macmillan calculator, and of course I have to spell it right. Macmillan calculator will tell you what you can expect. I'm not going to do this right now. It's ridiculous. What you can expect if you're running a certain pace at a half marathon. You're not going to take that half marathon pace minute for minute and plug it right into a marathon, and you're just going to finish that marathon in just twice the amount of time that you did the half. You have to allow for a little extra padding in there. So if you're looking at and I'm just pulling numbers out here, if you're looking at a 2:30 half marathon, you're not going to do a 5-hour marathon. Just the way our bodies have to adapt to the mileage without significant training to get to that 5-hour marathon, you might drop some speed, but you're not going to make it, mile for mile the same pace. I'm hoping I'm making sense here. So that 2.5-hour marathon, half marathon, might take you 5.5 hours to do the full marathon. So just add some padding in there, and you want to think about that when you're going into your long training runs. Okay, so yeah, my midweek easy run I can do at, I can do 3 or 4 miles in 30 minutes to a half an hour, 30 minutes to 45 minutes, but if I'm going out for a 20 miler, I'm not going to make that equivalent pace calculation. Okay. So I'm going to take longer to do that, which is why, and I said this in a video a while back, what is more important, mileage or time? And I will tell you that for those of us that are halfway back or further, okay, there's no judgment, but we don't want, if our plan says, okay, we need to do 22 miles, but in the middle of our training, that takes us 5.5, 6 hours, stop at 5. Stop at 5 hours. It's about time on your feet. And I think that's why maybe the full, the goofy, okay, so Anne, I want to go back to you. It was goofy, and it was only my second half marathon. I usually just do a full. You just do a full marathon. Half marathons are hard. I just do a full marathon. That's actually really funny. In that usually it's the other way around. I just did the half. I didn't do the full. That was just a funny observation. Anyway, it was very cold, and it was cold. Did you do the 2017 or 2018? No, well, you had to have done 2018 because 2017 half was canceled, right? Well, hello, Andy at FOD Runner. Nice to see you. I saw your video. Looks really, really good. Your collaboration video. Guys, check out FOD Runner. He just did this great compilation from a bunch of running channels, and that was fantastic. So I want to give you a shout out there, Andy. That was a great job on that. But I want to go back into, I was talking about half marathons and full marathons. If you are, I think that's why the half can be harder, because I tend, and this is my personal running journey, the half marathon is that's my sweet spot. That's my favorite race to run. Marathon training is a challenge from a time management perspective for me. I have to know that I'm going to have that kind of time, especially on the weekends, to get those long runs in. Half marathons, I can manage, 2 or 3 hours out on the road on the weekends. But when we get up into the 4 or 5 hours, those are harder for me. I also tend to push pace harder on the half marathon than I would on the full, at least lately. My first full marathon, I went pretty hard. I suffered actually a little bit in the last 5 miles, but I did it, right? So the full marathon, I think we do want to kind of slow simmer that pace. When a half marathon can be a little bit hotter and you're pushing a little bit longer, or pushing pace a little bit more than you would during a marathon. Those are the biggest differences, I think. And I think because of that, they are each their own animal. Just like going from a 5K to a 10K can each be their own thing. A 5K is not easy. When I go back and I do 5Ks now, it's rare that I do them, but I am pushing as hard as I possibly can for 30 minutes or so. I hope that it only takes me 30 minutes. But like this 10K that I just did, that was a much harder effort than I would put into even a half marathon. So that's how you would manage the full marathon day. You're going to be out there forever. So take your time with it, unless you're going for a PR or a Boston qualifier. That's, again, different animal. Okay. I'm speaking to way, the middle folks are going from their half marathon paces to attempting their first marathon. So that's just where I sit. I'm out there for the fun of it. Basically, the last 2 marathons I've done were Disney, and I have set my personal worst the last 2 times I've done marathon. So that, right? Yeah. Boston qualifier. I know. Right. So I want to go back and I want to see what everybody's saying. And you've never done a 5K or a 10K, just went straight to the full. Good for you. That's amazing. And that going back to the Disney marathon weekend, that was cold. And I train in the cold when it gets like, back into the November and December, it gets pretty cold here in Denver, but then you add in the humidity and no, thank you. No, thank you. So it was very cold. So Derwin, welcome. Welcome to the channel. I think that's the first time I've seen you here. Welcome. Lander Bari, hi from humid Florida. Newbie runner. So I run nutrition both for training runs and long runs. Okay, nutrition can be its own animal too, right? So it's like its own thing. Running nutrition can be a huge industry. In fact, it is. One of the things I have noticed over the course of my personal running journey is how much bigger and more complicated running nutrition has become. So Lander, I want to get into that. Let's see, participating, slowing down for long runs in anticipation of Dopey. Yes. So when you have the 5K, 10K half full, 4 days in a row, are you running all out, all 4 races? No. The answer is no, you do not. So when you're doing those 4 races in a row, there's a huge energy management issue, because not only are you running 4 races in a row, but you're also likely in the parks and wandering around a little bit, right? So when you're doing these back-to-back days, recovery is crucial. It's crucial. Pack your foam roller, pack your MB5, pack whatever you have to help you recover. Make sure you're hydrating. Make sure you're sitting down. I love during these Run Disney weekends, it's a perfect time to people watch, because you just find yourself a little pocket and you just watch people go by. You sit across from character meet and greets and you see the excitement, or you sit across from, some of the scarier rides or the water rides, and you just watch people. You don't have to do that all day, but allow yourself the time to sit. Okay. So for Dopey, yes, slow your paces down and plan those races carefully. So if you do have, I don't recommend going for a PR for any one of those races, because if you're going for a PR, that means you're pushing pace and you're wearing yourself down, keeping you from being ready for the next race. And even if you wanted to wait until the marathon and push pace on that, you have 3 days of running ahead before that. So the amp up to the marathon is compromised a little bit. So let's go back to what Lander, I want to make sure I get you. Lander says, post-run nutrition for me, if you have anything to throw in here, please do. So when it comes to post-run nutrition, my biggest thing is making sure I get a good amount of protein in right away. And that for me comes in the form of some kind of protein smoothie. My smoothie regimen is more complicated than a lot of people would probably deal with, but I love it. I have an almond milk base. I put Greek yogurt, which is high in protein, and I will do some kind of fruit, some kind of greens, leafy greens, spinach usually. What else do I put in there? I will put in some kind of healthy oil or healthy fat, like MCT oil. I put in BCAA powder. That's a branched chain amino acid. Again, all of this is for muscle recovery and the nutrients and replenishing the nutrients. I do that, try to do that right away after my run. But anything with a good amount of protein and balance of carbs, if you are carb adapted, if you're fat adapted, you would go a different route, right? You might go with eggs instead of some kind of smoothie with fruit in it. So that's a different story. I am not a nutritionist. These are my, chocolate milk. That's another really good one. I used to do chocolate milk. I don't know why I stopped. I think I just looked at the one bottle and it said, wow, $2 a bottle. And I'm going through like 2 or 3 of these, quite a bit. Yeah, Thomas, I did have a beer. You know what? I have to say I had a beer at 9:25 on Monday morning because I just kicked butt in a race. So, and it was free. Life is good. So right after a run, go for protein. Make sure you have a good, healthy protein source with a good balance of carbs and or fats. So that's where I would start. Like Anne says, chocolate milk. You can find a fortified, Lander, you're in Florida. You can find protein fortified chocolate milk that's actually designed for this kind of thing. So remember, there is a Got Chocolate Milk campaign. Anton Ono was a part of that. I think Kara Goucher. There was that whole movement for chocolate milk being like the perfect recovery drink. And I still think it is. I think what it was, the reason why I got away from chocolate milk, now that I think about it, is that the milk can have almost too much in the way of carbs. And I'm trying to be careful of that piece of it. So I may go back and see if that makes a difference. I don't know. The other thing too is, what are some other practices? So during training runs, again, I did a whole video on that not long ago. I like goo. You're thinking 100 calories or so an hour, 45 minutes to an hour after that first 45 minutes to an hour. If you are going into a race, you want to top off your glycogen tank before your race about 60 to 90 minutes ahead of time with about 100 to 200 calories. Then you have, during your race, if your race is longer than, or your run is longer than, for me, longer than about an hour, I like to bring a goo with me. I didn't bring anything with me for Fortitude because it was a 10K and I wasn't going to be out there. I wasn't planning on being out there long enough. Luckily, I wasn't. And there was beer. So I hope that helped a little bit, Lander, and I'm glad you're here. So thank you. What did I think of? Yeah, Andy, I want to go back to that question about difference between Disney and normal races. Basically, that's exactly it. There's Disney and then there's normal. But Cindy asked, how do you like the Huma gels? I love Huma gels. Okay. I'm still, the goo works for me and I still have a ton of it. And so I went back to Runner's Roost and I picked up probably 6 or 7 different flavors of the Huma gels. If you haven't seen these guys, they are a natural food source. And Lander, you can check this out too. They're a natural fruit puree with chia seeds. And it has kind of the consistency of applesauce as opposed to, like a frosting, like goo, right? So goo has a real toothpastey kind of texture to it, but the Huma, Huma gels are, they're an all natural food source and they're super good. I did try the strawberry and I tried the raspberry and now I've got 1,000. It goes, yeah, they go down really easy. And I like them. And it's going to be interesting to see how, because it was different when I tried them on a recent long run. It was different than what I'm used to. So I did have a little bit of digestive problems, but it was well after the fact. And I think it was just because it was different. If I incorporate the Huma gels into my regular runs, I will probably get used to it. So Linda, I know, yeah, you love it. You do need to drink, just like with everything else, like a water, just regular water, 6 to 8 ounces. I really just maybe drink 2 or 3 ounces. And then I will drink another 2 or 3 ounces about 5 minutes later. It just kind of helps it all dissolve together. Yes. And Cindy, very good point. When you are trying to, and this especially goes back to the marathon training, when you start your long runs, and by long runs, I mean anything over 6 or 7 miles, start training with your nutrition. Okay. Because you need that much time to figure out how much you really need to bring with you. I will say I was overdoing it on my first marathon. And I think I did the math and I was taking a gel every 3 miles. Do the math. That's 8 gels. I brought 8 gels with me. And let's just say it didn't end well. It's as far as I'm going to go. You don't need to bring that much, or bring real food in there. If you want to try real food, you can make your own bites. You can bring, I like the Stroop waffles, but guys, if you have any thoughts, a banana, Some marathons will have real food out there. They'll have bananas and oranges. Go for that if you see it, instead of the constant intake of gels. So that's just my own little personal experience with that. I do want to, yeah, and you suggested res runs. Yeah, Andy, if you want to see somebody who really knows how to make, I mean, I love all of the running vloggers out there, but res runs, I mean, anybody wants to argue with me, you can, but res runs is definitely by far one of the best produced YouTube channels out there. He really knows his stuff. So Andy, check his videos out. He just put up Star Wars, the Star Wars, last year's Star Wars videos. He, let's see, he has a gimbal stabilizer for his GoPro. He spends so much time working on those videos. So the difference, to answer your question, Andy, about the difference between Disney runs and normal runs, normal being the operative word. Disney runs have a lot going for them in the experience. My personal feeling, okay, my personal feeling is that Disney runs are great for first timers. They are your gateway drug. Okay. Anybody wants to argue with me on that, you can. But Disney runs are a great gateway drug. I came at it from the other way. I was doing, half Ironmans, Ironmans, and then I needed a break. And then I came into Disney for that break. It took a lot of pressure off. What is different about a Disney run is that you run through the park, through the parks. Depending on where you are. It used to be that they would have them at Disneyland. That has been put on hiatus. We can talk about that, but we're not going to talk about that. Run Disney races are really designed for the novice runner. They're designed to give you something to look at, to see, to experience throughout the run. They have characters along the course that you can stop and get your picture taken with. You run through the castle and they have photographers on the other side of the castle. So you're running out of the castle and you've got the castle behind you. So yes, you're actually stopping quite a bit if you choose to do so. You don't have to. I think it's Arno, somebody's bringing up Arno, will run hard because he's, A or B corral, and he can run hard and get through the whole course and still stop for characters and still do a pretty fast time. But for those of us who are toward the back, we take that time to stop and experience it. And that's the biggest difference, I think, between what Disney does and what like you said, the normal run does. You have your rock and roll race series. I know, Andy, you're over in the UK and have possibly a different culture around your running over there. But I would say, yeah, in front of A Corral. The rock and roll series, they'll have entertainment on the course every mile or two, which is fine. Boulder is about as close to a Disney race as you're going to get outside of Disney, because you have so much entertainment. You have slip and slides. Another thing you can do for some of the Run Disney races, Andy, is that you can get on a ride. Okay, so I did that during the marathon. I made it a point to hit Animal Kingdom on the course, which is about the half marathon mark, when the park opened. And I got on Expedition Everest. I rode a roller coaster in the middle of a marathon. That's why they're different. Just saying. Okay, so that's basically the big difference. So you guys are just chatting along. I love it. Yeah, and I think what I like about Disney races is that before you know it, you've finished something you didn't know you could finish, right? for a lot of people. In the last two Run Disney events, Run Disney marathons I participated in, being in that back half of the corral placement, there were so many first-time marathoners. So many first-time marathoners. And that's the kind of thing that makes my heart sing, because I see these people going out and going, I am doing something that I have no idea how this is going to go. All right. They're out there, they're dressed in costumes. It's 5 o'clock in the morning and they're freezing their butts off. At least the last 2 years they've been. It just makes me so happy to be back there and say, good for you. Good for you. This is huge. So that's why Disney is different. And I think once you've done a few Disney races, you learn, well, okay, I did that. Maybe I can do it faster. And maybe for less money. So we start thinking, okay, well, there's a local 10K or there's a local marathon. I don't have to worry about getting my money's worth out of this race event. I can go do this and see how well I do this time. Okay. Not everybody makes that transition, and it's totally fine. I think Run Disney is an experience that is unlike any other. If you can kind of let go of the time expectations, okay? Especially when you get back further in the corrals, things really slow down and congest up a little bit. But if you're up front a little ways, yeah, Thomas, you said that the character stops are like one person deep. You can still stop for a character, and those character stops go fast, 30 seconds a piece. That's it. So that's really the big difference. Hope that, we can talk. This crew, Andy, could talk Run Disney all dang day. And we kind of do. Yeah. Lander, nightmares about the balloon ladies. We love the balloon ladies. We don't want to see them, but we love them. Talk about being an amazing volunteer. So the balloon ladies are the last people you see before you see the sweeper trucks come by. So they maintain a 16-minute mile throughout the marathon and the half marathon. And they're kind of fun. I think they're really neat people. And kind of person to be that encouraging at the back. Well, Thomas runs 27 Disney races with 6 more booked. That's dedication, man. So I'm sorry if I'm missing questions. If you did ask a question up higher, let me know. We talked about Run Arno Run. He is one of those guys out there, one of those YouTubers out there. Kind of what Meredith wish you were doing but you're doing London. That's huge, Meredith. That's a big deal. That's a big deal. Dedication or addiction. Yeah. It could go either way, Thomas. Let's see. I'm going to take a sip of my noon while I'm watching you guys talk. Hang on. A Dopey victory lap. Victory lap is your Dopey. So, hey guys, if you guys have questions about training, let me know. What else can we talk about? We talked about Disney. We always talk about Disney, don't we? You missed the night races. I'm trying to think. I think I would have a hard time with those. I'm kind of glad I never had that option. I heard that Tower of Terror 10 miler. That one makes sense as a night race because it was around Halloween, right? Yes, I am still drinking nettle tea. Not today though. Well, actually, I did. Okay, this is my nettle tea, but that's pretty much gone. So I'm switching over to noon. Yeah. What else can we talk about? Lander, I know you asked about nutrition. Wine and Dine's coming up. Hey, okay, so I've got Beat the Blurch. coming up in 10 days. 10 days. So here's the thing. I have to tell you this little story about the Fortitude. Man, I was so nervous for that race, you guys. I couldn't sleep. I laid in bed for 2 hours and I stared at the ceiling. And I'm just, I could not shut my brain off. Just could not shut my brain off. So I'm sitting there. Finally I get to sleep. And I did not sleep well. It's kind of like, I know I talked about this recently. I just did not sleep well. So I got to the race start and I'm jittery. Like I'm just like, oh my gosh. So but I got that done. And so now that Fortitude is in the books, I can look at Blurch and I don't really know how I want to do that. I'm going up to Seattle to visit my friend Karen, who I met her in the Marathon Corrals, actually, for Disney Marathon weekend. And turns out we have like 1,000 things in common. We just instantly hit it off. So I'm headed up there. I'm staying with her. But right now she's in Paris. So she's already in Paris. And she's not actually doing the Paris races. She's coming back for Blurch. But I don't really know how I'm going to do this race. I have done no research on Beat the Blurch at all. Gone through a couple of iterations about how we're going to manage that weekend. Karen came to me and asked if I wanted to volunteer as a Blurch, which I thought was really funny. So if you don't know what the Blurch is, the oatmeal.com is a comic strip. And if you look up the wonderful and horrible reasons why I run long distances, that's a comic. He has this little fat cherub, white little fat thing that has a headband, and it's this little angel that follows you around as you run saying, hey, no, you want to go back and you want to, watch, binge watch something and binge something out of your fridge and all of that. So that's Beat the Blurch. The Blurch would be like a character, not really a stop, but like Karen wanted to know if I wanted to volunteer as one of those and dressed up in this fat suit and chase runners around on Saturday because our race is on Sunday. And I thought, yeah, that would be kind of fun. We missed out on those slots, but we are volunteering at the finish line for Saturday. So I'm looking forward to that. Guys, you're talking about London. I'm so jealous, you guys, about London. Philadelphia Marathon's coming up for you, November 18th. I run things. Hi, Susie Q. Dave, I saw that you dropped in. Say hello to Dave. London is amazing. I went to London before I was married the first time. My best friend and I went over there and we just did all the stuff. We walked all over the place. We stayed in a youth hostel. And again, this was a long time ago. And that was the first and only time I've been there. Knowing almost nothing about it. I know nothing about the course. What's the movie with Simon Pegg? Run, Fat Boy, Run? Do I have that right? That's where, he's a total non-runner. He's like a rent-a-cop security guy, right? And he decides that he's going to enter the London Marathon. And it's really very funny. Yes, Run, Fat Boy, Run. Thank you, Dave. I loved that movie. I thought it was just kind of like, yeah, that's exactly how it feels to run a marathon. So I loved it. I thought it was, oh, Meredith, what are you saying? So yay for the Blurch. I have a channel. Oh, okay. Yes. So there are a lot of channels in here. And while I'm just thinking about it, guys, if you have a YouTube channel, drop your link in the chat. Just right now, just drop your link in the chat to your YouTube channel. We've got Rice Runner. That's Meredith Rice here. I run things, right? I saw the FOD runner. That's Andy. Trying to think, did I see anybody else that has a YouTube channel? Yeah, throw your link in. And if you can't do that, let me know. If it won't let you do that, I will find a different way to get that in there. Maybe I'll do a collaborative post. Actually, this is not official yet. I am thinking about doing something crazy for Vlogtober. I'm not sure if I want to do another vlog every day thing, but coming up on Wine and Dine, there's a lot of information to put out there. So October, I might be vlogging every day. Might be. Please don't hold me. I'm making no promises. Okay. All right. Yeah. Let me know if you can't do that. Do it, Stephanie. You're not helping. Dave, that's funny. Okay. I don't have a channel. I watch Running with Grace. You should check her out. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, you should definitely. Okay, let's see. I am going to start dropping links just because I love you guys. So here is Meredith Rice. This is Rice Runner. Oops, hang on a second. Make sure I get this in here. Rice Runner. This is Rice Runner. That's that one right there. I run things. Whoops. I run thinks. You know, sometimes it helps to spell things properly. I run things. That's the name of your channel, right? I want to make sure I have, or is it Susie Q? Oh, look. Oh, see, and then you can do that. Then you can, okay, hang on. So click on the icon, but let me see if I can find, I don't know why I can't find you in here. I run things. Let's see if I can find you. I'm looking. No, I'm not finding you in here. I don't know why. But yeah, click on her icon right there. I run things. Susie Q. Who else? FOD runner. Let me see if I'm going to come back to you here, Susie, and then I'm going to do that right here. Here's FOD runner, and I think that's everybody here. You guys know who Joyful Miles is. You know who. You know this guy. I've heard of him. Maybe. I don't know why it's not. Let me see if I can figure out. Guys, is everybody found Susie's channel? If you can, check them out. This is what I love about YouTube. Okay. I was talking to Dave, my husband, Dave, about this on the way up to Fort Collins on Monday. And did that actually go? Yeah, that went. And I was thinking to myself, even if this race, this isn't just about me anymore. To me, yes, it was. I was out there to prove something to myself. I wanted to see how hard I could push to get that PR. But I felt more invested in it this time around. Probably more invested in this race on Monday than I have in quite a few years. Okay. I went through a whole period of, you know what, I think I'm done pushing. I think I'm done pushing really, really hard. Went into this race on Monday, and it was interesting because I was thinking to myself, I was thinking about you guys. I was thinking about everybody here. Okay. You guys that come back every single week and say hi, and you drop in the chat. You guys are your own community. I can sit here and talk to myself all day long, and you guys are still talking and having a great old time. So I just have to, yep. Okay, give me a second. So this guy, there we go. Bye-bye. So I just wanted to say, I've been thinking about you guys, and I was invested in this race because you guys have been so supportive of me. So I was going up there and I'm like, this isn't just for me. This is for me, but it's not. It's you guys. So I can't, and I'm not articulating this well at all because I've got this weirdo in here. So Scott, you asked, ooh, that's a good question, Stephanie. Scott, you asked if I've decided if I'm going to coach runners. Technically, I am right now. I'm putting myself through my own internship, and I have 3 that I'm helping out. Heather, if you're still here, you're one of them. And then this is public knowledge because it was on the Joyful Miles podcast. Jen Sorensen, and not you, Dave, not you. And I have, my sister-in-law is training for the Austin Distance Challenge, and she's going to be doing her first full marathon in February. So that's what's happening. And I'm kind of going through this learning process of how do I build plans for someone specifically based around their needs. And so it's been very telling for me. It's helped me out quite a bit. Will I continue to do this? Yes, I will. And I will probably expand that. I just don't know. I don't know when. It's like right now I'm just kind of getting the feelers out and seeing how that goes. But Scott, if you're interested, I know people. Okay. Let's see. There was another one, Stephanie. What does everyone do when they get burnt out on running? How long does it last? How do you will yourself to get out there again? Show of hands if you've ever done that. That would be me. I'm actually still there. I think what it took for me, Stephanie, recently was I needed to get back into taper. I needed to just taper down for this race, buy new stuff. Now, retail therapy is a thing, but that could lead to other issues. I have found that I need to either mix it up and do something completely different or watch YouTube. Yeah. Find people who are in the same place or who have recently been there. Ask exactly what you did. How do you get find ways that are going to work for you? Because maybe it isn't about going into taper for you. Maybe it isn't about buying new stuff for you. I went through a whole thing after marathon weekend. I went through a whole thing where I was like, the last thing I want to do is watch a Disney video. It's the last thing I want to do right now. Nothing against Disney, but I was so burned out on it, right? So I think when you get into that burnout phase, something's got to get mixed up. And this is something that Dr. Justin Ross talks about. That video that I did on Tuesday just scratched the surface. Okay. There was so much information there. So if you have a chance, mental training, and that's exactly what this was too, Scott, it was mental training and trying to get your brain to get past that. But there's the other side of it where maybe you just need to change up. Maybe the brain is kind of playing a rerun reel and it can't get out of that rut. So you change it up. Find someplace else to run. Run your route in an opposite direction. Okay. If you always listen to music, try turning the music off or listen to a podcast or an audiobook. If you're going to do something, just pick something different. Run with a friend. Things like that. Or get on the bike, run in the water, do some aqua jogging. Mix it up. Find a way to make it different, find a new podcast, find a new playlist, watch TV. That's computer stop. Okay. Oh my gosh. Oh, okay. It's 12:55. Okay. I hope that helps. Because again, Stephanie, I think it's sometimes you have to muscle through it, and you finding the passion again. That's been a struggle for me. The run experience. Yes. And that's another good one. They're not on here, but I know they have a live show coming up in 5 minutes. The Run Experience, great on YouTube. They have a much higher production value than I do. Yes, I do call I do call her computer. She's listening. So yeah. Because I have her. Okay, thank you. I have her up here, and then I have Alexa downstairs. So yeah. Anyway, the timer is for 5 minutes. I'm going to jump off here. Any other questions? I hope that helps, Stephanie, because I know I think we've all struggled with that at one point or another. Running in the heat, that usually demotivates you. The seasons are going to change here pretty quick. We're already starting to feel fall in the air, even though we still have some warmer days, but the nights are getting cooler, a little bit more rain. Love the blooper reel. I'm glad. Thanks, Anne. It's funny. I think it was you that mentioned that you just stumbled on it. Yes, Lander, that's a good one. It's autumn. It's fall. I'm in the States, man. We call it fall. So I just wanted to, hold on. The blooper reel. I don't do a lot of bloopers because there are so dang many of them. And then I get I have to go switch and back. Oh my gosh. I've got some really, you guys in the UK are yelling at me. I love it. I love it. You guys are so great. Hi, Jeff. We're almost done. I did great. I PR'd. Yes, thank you. I am going to head out here. So what else did I have the blooper reel? Lander, I wanted to say this. So you're are you a cyclist first and foremost? Are you triathlete? Do you do any of that? Your reward for running is riding my bike that lives on my bedroom wall. You pull it and you jump on the trainer. Oh, there's another one. I've got some spammers in here today, you guys. Good spammers. Love it. All right, guys. What else? Is that it? I think that's it. Again, I'm glad so many of you guys were here. Fall, autumn, fall. See, now I'm not going to be able to do that. Now, every time I want to say fall, I'm going to think autumn, and it's going to mess me up, and I'm going to end up with more bloopers. So both of you too. Okay, guys. What is happening on Tuesday? No, I've got a weekend update and fall. I've got a weekend coming up with the Fortitude 10K race recap, and that's going to be coming up Saturday or Sunday. Then Tuesday, what am I talking about Tuesday? I just went through the whole shoe refit thing, and I'm going to give you guys some tips on getting new shoes. So all of my favorite tips on getting new shoes for your running. Guys, that is going to be it for me today. Okay, new shoe tips. Yes. So that's going to be it for me today, you guys. Thank you so much for stopping by, having a great chat, and kind of putting up with a little bit of disorganization. But head over to check out all of all of my friends in here. So I Run Things, Meredith Rice, FOD Runner. Check those guys out, and we will see you very soon. That's it for me today, you guys. Go find your awesome. Until next time, happy running. Mwah. Bye, guys.